Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in Jew. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching, and now my ears are ringing. Hello and welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can keep this or any other conversation I ignite going on over at my Twitter at Movies TV Mad, my Vero at Big Mouth 1, and the extension to this channel, give or take the odd ball video, is my Instagram, Big Mouth. Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of the dceu Daily. If you're not interested in the release of the Snyder Cut campaign, if you're not interested in what's going on with that, you probably don't want to watch this video. There is no DC World of Movie, DCEU news today, so we're going to do what someone I really admire, who has got a YouTube channel, Chris Wong, does a lot. I'm going to put an invisible tinfoil hat on because Chris Wong has a very, very interesting theory. Now, Chris's intrigue was piqued from the moment Zack posted Henry in the black suit. Now, there's a lot of people saying that he faked the black suit, that's actually the blue suit. Now, people are not saying this to throw shade on Zack. It's clear that Zack can only show certain things. Now, we don't know for sure if he ever actually wore the black suit. Now, actually, one of his DPs said that he did a while back in an article which I can't find. So it's clear he wore it. It's clear he wore it, right? But the picture maybe isn't the actual picture from the set of him wearing the black suit. Look, we don't know what was done and what wasn't done. Now, Chris has got a very interesting working theory, and I'm going to read it out to you. I'm still thinking about this. Yeah, we know you are, Chris. You ain't stopped thinking about this. Should be in bed by now, but he just can't sleep. So isn't this a new title, like possibly a new licensed title, like it's not a director's cut of a previous movie anymore, like a new project, new cut authorities, etc.? I don't know. This statement seems important. False. Let's put it this way. In Zack Snyder's Justice League, he will have a black suit. Now, that's what Zack said a couple of days ago after he unleashed Cavill in the black costume. So, if I'm getting Chris's theory right here, he believes that they're actually making a brand new Justice League movie. Now, Chris has had a lot of tinfoil theories. Some of them are right, some of them are not, but that's what tinfoil is. It's something you'd like to happen, or you've got a thought about what may have happened or may happen, and it doesn't. I think this is one of Chris's theories. This is actually true, but he may have got this upside down. I believe, right, they may do some pickups for the Snyder Cut. A couple of reshoots. If they are getting the band back together, and he is shooting something, I believe it's a sequel to his Justice League. I don't believe he's redoing his version. As I say, a couple of reshoots to perfect some things, some, messing about with some effects, making sure it's perfect. After all, Zack is a perfectionist. So I can see that happening. But if they are doing anything, if they are shooting a new title, I think it could be a sequel to the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Now, there's a lot of things to back this up. So let's have a look at this, if you bear with me. Eat your popcorn while I'm doing this. So, there's a lot of interesting things going on. So, Christina Wren played Carol Ferris, Major Carol Ferris, in Man of Steel. And she also cameoed in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. And now, Carol Ferris is a very, very, very important character within the DC comic book universe because, of course, not only is she the daughter of the Ferris who owns the aeroplanes that we know that Green Lantern flies, right? We also know that they end up together. There's a love interest. In fact, Carol, in the comics and even the animated series, becomes a Lantern herself. So a very, very important character. Now, this is what Christina Wren said. I could never overshout out this amazing artist. I was a huge fan of Zack before I even knew the untitled Warner Brothers project. I was auditioning for was his. When I found out I was going to be in a film with not only the icon of my childhood, Superman, but in the company of this artist that I had been dying to work with, I couldn't believe dreams really do come true. Magic is real. There must be a Santa Claus. There is. Of course there is, Christina. And then working with him was one of the most lovely experiences I've ever had. He continues to be generous, a generous presence in my life. And I am so grateful. He's the real deal. Love this guy. Now, Christina and Zack were pictured together. And where is it? Where is it? I think I've lost it. That's not fair, is it? That's not fair. I did have it here. But basically, he basically said she's a great actor and she's a great creative. He was holding a coffee, he had his arms around. Basically, they had a picture together. So this is when everyone started to have theories. What are they doing together? I mean, obviously, they could have just met for a coffee, but maybe, just maybe, he's getting the old cast back together to shoot the Justice League sequel. And this British actor, and I forgot his name now, he's posting a lot of fan art of him as Green Lantern now. Do you remember the one? Do you remember the guy, right? Well, I noticed he actually reposted someone's art. It's clear that this young English actor did play a Green Lantern. We don't know which one, but he definitely, we don't know if it's the Green Lantern or if it's actually another one. But it doesn't matter. It looks like he was wearing the costume in the Snyder Cut. So this again is very, very interesting. Now, someone posted one of Carol Ferris, and I think that's her name, right? And Green Lantern together, right? So Christina liked that, and then she goes, no, yeah, she just hashtag released the Snyder Cut. Now, Starfire is actually what she becomes, Carol Ferris, right? In the comics. That's how, when she gets, I think she puts on a ring, I don't know how it works, but she becomes Starfire. So look at this. So she could have a very, very big destiny as an actor playing Carol Ferris in the Snyder Cut of Justice League, or maybe she doesn't become Starfire in Justice League. Who knows? Nearly a 4-hour movie. Anything's possible. But that's her future. Now, I've always liked Christina, and I loved her in Man of Steel. She played the character in a very, very likeable way. Very likeable. There's different ways you could write that character, and you could make her very unlikable, very authoritarian. But they did a really, really good job with her. And, there's just theories upon theories here. It's just very, very interesting. Now, this is another kind of... Now, Chris Terrio has been talking a lot because he co-wrote Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker with J.J. Abrams. This is what he had to say. You came to this project from Batman v Superman and Justice League. How did those experiences play into your approach on this movie? I never thought I would work on another franchise film. And in fact, when J.J. hired me, he hired me based on a little political thriller because I was back to doing that, which is really how I started as a writer. And then Star Wars came about. This was very, very different way of working. It was extremely collaborative, and it's credit to the producers. And I think that everyone was making the same movie, and that's not always an easy thing with a movie of this size. Could he be talking about Justice League? Maybe Justice League wasn't as collaborative with the interference from Kevin Sugihara and other creators at Warner Brothers. Maybe. Sometimes the studio wants to make one movie and the producer wants to make a different movie, and the director wants to make a different movie, and the writers want to make a different movie. On this one, I had an experience very much like Argo, where we all were making the same movie. We agonised over every decision within that. But it was a joyous process. So basically, Chris Terrio getting some digs there. It's clear he's talking about Justice League. He's saying producers want to make one movie. A studio wants to make another movie. Writers want to make another movie. And directors want to make another movie. That is talking about Justice League. So he's already, ready to throw shade over Kevin Tsujihara and Warner Brothers. And he says in a couple of months, he's going to tell all. So, I mean, Warner Brothers, get your fingers out, announce the Snyder Cut so he can keep his mouth shut, because he's going to tell all. And I think if he tells all, you, my friends, are in a lot of trouble. Yeah, so this is the picture that the actor shared. And his name is Sam Benjamin, the actor. He's an English actor. He's in War of the Worlds, which is a BBC production. I think that's still on weekly on BBC. And he was definitely involved in the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Now, there's been lots of rumours that he played Green Lantern, the main Green Lantern. Now, this is the one from the fan. This is Sam as Green Lantern. Hal Jordan. You see, I got there, I'm crap with names, even though I'm a big Green Lantern fan. How can I forget that name? But sometimes I just go blank. There's definitely something wrong with me anyway. So Sam Benjamin, right? Sam Benjamin, it looks like he did play the main Green Lantern, right? The main Green Lantern on the Snyder Cut of Justice League. And here's a fan. Here's some fan art of Samuel. That's pretty amazing. And he put it up. So it's clear by him putting it up that he did play the main Green Lantern in Justice League. Now, this is where things become very interesting. Going forward, would he play the role again? Of course, that's not up to him. He would love to. He's a massive DC fan. He loved his experience, working on the Snyder Cut of Justice League. He even said once Joss took over, he kind of thought those scenes would be not part of his movie. So he certainly knows a lot more than we do about that production. So there's a Green Lantern TV series that's going to be developed by Jeff John for HBO Max. Will he be involved in that? Are they going a different direction? Will that have nothing to do with it? I'm kind of suspecting now that the Green Lantern TV show will be connected to the Green Lantern core TV show that Jeff Johns is still writing and developing now. I think there's going to be a communication there, or a connection, an interconnective universe. So that's very interesting. So then we go back to what's going on. And if, I said yesterday I'd been given some information about the Snyder Cut, some very exciting information I really can't talk about. It would be worth my channel. I can't afford to be sued. I mean, I've got some money, but I don't want to lose all my money because I was stupid. So we're going to have to wait to discuss that. This information I've got has excited me. I'm more relaxed about the situation. So it's clear the Snyder Cut is coming. Now, I don't know if Chris Wong was alluding that they're actually going to refilm the Snyder Cut of Justice League, or if he was alluding to my theory that they're going to start shooting Justice League 2. Now, this is interesting, right? Will they wait until they're ready to release all three films back-to-back yearly? So you could have the Snyder Cut 1 year, right? And then you could have Justice League 2, then Justice League 3. So if he starts shooting in the new year, let's say, for Justice League 2, I suppose you could release the Snyder Cut. Well, you could literally release the Snyder Cut next year. Sometime. I think that's what's going to happen. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. It's a theory. That's all it is. Right? But, yeah, I think the Snyder Cut is coming, and I think it's looking like, with Zack in a picture with Christina Wren, that he's getting the old band back together. Either that, or he's doing the sequel to Man of Steel 2. We don't know. So there's lots of interesting things that we don't know right now. That's the thing about it. I would say to you, keep on hashtagging, but absolutely, things have been looking very positive since November the 17th, when we were trending so high, and Warner Brothers on their, on a variety of their social media platforms re-followed Zack Snyder. Now, we mustn't forget what was done to this guy. We mustn't. He had a plan. They basically tried to get him to water down what he was doing. They felt uncomfortable because of the reaction of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. So he kept on going back, compromising. In the end, he left. But he turned around and said, and so did Warner Brothers, that he left because he thought he could cope with the death of his daughter, but he couldn't. Now, this is something that's really important. It's something that me and my brother discussed at the time. Now, Alton Snyder died quite a way before Zack even started on Justice League. Now, let's be clear here. You know, it's plausible that Zack didn't get over her death and couldn't cope with her death. I mean, you never get over something like that. And I'm not saying, oh, why didn't you get up? I'm not being disrespectful. But let's be clear here. They lied. And they made Zack lie as well. Zack Snyder didn't leave this production because of the death of Autumn. He left the production because he fell out with them. They no longer, you know, that term creative differences. But for some reason, they didn't want to admit that they wanted to part company with him. They obviously knew how popular Zack was with a certain element of fans. That's one thing they understood and got right. And that's why they lied and used Autumn's death as an excuse. Now, that's disgusting. Of course it is. Now, I can't prove any of this. I'm alleging this, right? So they took him away. They treated him like dirt. And, you know, I totally blame Kevin Sujihara here. Unlike some, I don't blame Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns was, you know, in charge at the time. He was there to do a job. But you don't put Zack Snyder and Jeff Johns together. Jeff Johns is a hardcore comic book man. He's not going to agree with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's a fan of the comics, but he had an original take on the material, which I'm quite happy with. I remember when we first started watching Smallville, and a lot of people, a lot of geeks and nerds were saying, well, you know, Lex Luthor was never in Smallville with Clark Kent. This is wrong. But I like unique takes on material, and actually, just going into the Smallville thing, there is a Superboy comic book edition where Lex Luthor and young Clark Kent meet in Smallville, and first they're friends, but then, you know, a chemical kind of accident takes his hair from him, and he becomes jealous of Clark Kent, and he vows and he hates him. So there is there, but it was an original, it was a unique take, and that's what basically those first two DCEU movies were. The 5-movie arc that he planned is a very original take, but also it's like the Injustice game. It's really kind of, there's a lot of injustice going on there. So I think for the hardcore DC fans, people who like the darker DC material, like Injustice, when Superman goes absolutely nuts and kills people, Lois Lane dies, you know, so the whole thing would have been amazing. The nightmare sequences would have been explained. There would have been another nightmare sequence for Superman in the Snyder Cut as well. And another, I think these things would have happened for a few of the characters as well. So, you know, something's clear here. One thing is clear, that Snyder's Justice League trilogy was going to be something very, very unique. And I think Chris's theory here, and some of the things I pointed out to you, Sam, I forgot his last name. Right, I told you I'm crap with names. I think he did play Green Lantern. So I do believe that they are going to be doing some reshoots and pickups for the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I don't think it's going to become a new working title. And I don't know what Chris Wong was alluding to there. I would definitely think there is a new working title going on, and that's the sequel to Justice League. And then back to back, he'll probably shoot Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 at the same time. And I think yearly they can be released back to back yearly. That would be very, very exciting. Do you remember how they did Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3? So what do you think about all of this? What do you think of Chris Wong Svensson's theory? I love it. I mean, I love all his theories, but this is great. So I do think there's a working title. I do think that he's going to start filming Justice League 2 and 3. And I think there will be some pickups and reshoots for the Snyder Cut to get things perfect, or as perfect as he wants them. So get excited, get pumped, comment down below, please like and share, please subscribe, share the channel, and I'll be back with more DCEU Daily tomorrow. See you then.